Welcome to the Love is Our Nature podcast, where we discuss all things ranging from love, relationships, authenticity, fulfillment, to lessons from plant medicine journeys, inner healing, and living your truth. I'm not your teacher, I'm only your fellow student. Occasionally, you also get to hear some of my own healing process and journey back to love. The point of the program? That you take away at least one actionable piece of knowledge that supports you in expanding whatever aspect of your life your heart most desires. My name is Cesar Rodriguez. I will be your host, and I am honored to have you here. Happy listening. Welcome to the Love is Our Nature podcast. Hi, Fern.
Hi, Caesar.
How you doing?
Amazing.
Awesome. Let me tell you who this wonderful person that I have here with me is. So if I may, I'll introduce her to you. Fern Olivia is an internationally recognized teacher, speaker, and medicine woman passionate about the power of energy and plant medicine, shamanic practices, yoga, and holistic lifestyle ritual. She works with the energy of sound and voice, tantric practices, and shamanic healing arts to offer women and men the remembrance of their own sovereignty, freedom, and intuitive wisdom. Fern is a multidimensional oracle trained in a multitude of spiritual and holistic healing modalities, including Kundalini yoga, sound therapy, rebirthing breathwork, and Akashic Records channeling. She currently lives in Santa Teresa, Costa Rica, where she offers monthly new moon women's circles at Zuña and personal and group ceremonies at her home, Templo Lila. Fern Olivia is also the Kundalini yoga instructor at Thea Retreats, a luxury longevity cleanse retreat center on a private mountaintop oasis. She is eternally grateful that her soul called her to Costa Rica in August 2017 and has been here spreading love since. And each day has been following her passion to serve and protect this precious home and share it with all who feel called to join her.
Thank you.
I'm one of those people, I guess. You
are now. Yes.
I came to join her.
Felt the call. Here you are.
What an amazing bio.
Thank you for introducing me with so much love and passion and for having me here today.
Yeah, so much to talk about. I don't even know where to start. I do know some of the things that I want to make sure we touch upon. And we're just going to dance in the conversation. There's no real agenda.
Natural surprises.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, I'll start by bringing our listeners up to speed. If you've been listening to the Love is Our Nature podcast, we last had Tish while I was in Miami for 3 weeks. We did Zoom. And now here I am back in Costa Rica, back in Santa Teresa, where I spent the last 3 weeks of my first 3 months in Costa Rica. And we're actually in Templo Lila.
Your new home.
My new home. So you might remember Darren from episode 8, where we talked about ecstatic dance and where he does sound healing journeys. And Darren lived here in Templo Lila with 2 other people. And after coming here to an ecstatic dance on my day 1 in Santa Teresa, I was like, whoa, like, this house is amazing. If you ever need a roommate, please call me. And here I am.
Here you are. The power of manifestation.
Exactly. Darren is actually down south doing some of his own healing work. He's in a creative sabbatical right now, and we're holding space for him from here. So I have 2 amazing housemates, Pippa and Steve, that you know well.
Yes.
So
wow.
So yeah, and a cool thing about Templo Lila is we get to create these amazing events, at least once a week, usually on Sundays. It's these community gatherings where we invite everybody from the community to just come. And how would you describe our community events on Sundays?
It's like a bunch of free, amazing, loving, connected, heart-centered people coming together to appreciate nature, to appreciate cacao, to appreciate dancing, to be present with each other. I mean, what I love too is like no one's on their phone the whole time. Like everyone's just in the moment.
Yeah.
So it's a really beautiful way for community to gather, to be in this beautiful setting, to be so grateful about life and just be experiencing joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a great way to describe it. And I feel so blessed and fortunate to be one of the people producing the events now. For the first one that I got to co-produce, after the amazing DJ set from DJ Soul Love, aka Steve, who is my housemate. We'll have him here very soon. After the dance set, you got to do a sound journey for us. Thank you so much for that. It was beautiful. So that is one of the things that you do is sound healing?
Sound therapy,
Sound therapy?
So I use instruments and shamanic vocals to help people to soften into a place of surrender, into a place of vulnerability, into a place of breath.
Yeah.
And I do that sound journey with rebirthing breath work and other holotropic breath practices and kundalini to go into this very surrendered state where we can have profound healing. We can release traumas, we can release past stories, karmic wounds, really drop into our infinite true nature, which is love.
Yeah. Beautiful.
You
just leave it right there.
Podcast complete. Thank you very much. No, there's more intimate details, I'm sure.
Well, and so how did we meet, right? So I come back to Santa Teresa, and already the very first thing that I wanted to participate in, coming back to Santa Teresa, in fact, I was in the ferry when thankfully I had enough reception to see the message from Rasmus where he's like, all right, we're opening up the medicine song circle, and I see that people had RSVP'd like crazy, and I'm like, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. And he's like, all right, great to have you back, Caesar. We're now full, right? And 2 days later, I go to the medicine song circle, and there you were in Casa Verde with Rasmus, and that's where we met.
Yes. I was making tea. Rasmus put me to work. He said, hey, you're here early. Do you want to help? And before I could say yes, he's like, do you want to help? Here's the tea. Make the tea. So I'm standing behind the counter, nibbling on some last minute sweet potato chips because I hadn't eaten yet. And I was like making this tea. And all of a sudden you walk in. And I was like, I haven't met you before. Who are you?
Yeah. We were just drawn to each other in that moment. And yeah, we've been hanging out every now and then since.
Yeah, it's amazing. That hug was incredible. It's like,
great hug.
And now here I am at Templo Lila, giving sound journeys, dancing my heart free, and speaking here.
Yeah, and by the way, if you don't know who Rasmus is, you got to listen to episode 9 of the podcast.
It's nectar for your soul.
Yeah, and it has been for mine. Now you're a pretty steady frequenter at medicine song circles as well.
Amazing. So we just sing mantras, medicine songs that are traditionally used in shamanic healing and plant medicine, though also they bring you into this space, whether or not you've taken any plant medicine, they bring you into the space of connectivity with the earth, which is what I love. These songs really, even if you don't even know Spanish, you feel the sound current of these songs that have been sung in circles for, some of them are ancient, and they're, they come from different lineages and tribes in Brazil or Peru. And you feel that. The thing I love about songs, mantra or medicine songs, is that whatever that intention was that's been chanted for years, you jump on board that and you ride that wave so you can tap into the frequency of the medicine through that. It's really spectacular how we can do that.
Yeah, I love how you said it. There definitely is like this ancient resonance that when you're listening to the song, or even more so singing it, you connect to. Right? What's your favorite medicine song from Medicine Song Circle?
You know. You might have me sing it later.
Cognac? How does it go again?
Right now?
Give a little preview. Maybe the first, just first.
Okay. Desde cognac viene, agüita serpenteando por las acequias y entre molinos hacia nuestras vidas.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. I guess my soul feels it. It's about a little river named Madre Cunyac, Mother Cunyac, and it's about the little river and how we sing to the stars, and it's guiding our way back home. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a blessing of the water, from what I understand.
The water, exactly, right. And how all rivers lead to the ocean, and how water is life here in the world, and in Costa Rica too. I've gotten so intimate with the water. I've learned how precious she is, and how we can really send our prayers to the water, and that does make a difference.
Yeah, wonderful. So, I met you, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I just met the woman from the movie Enchanted. You ever seen the movie Enchanted? Yes. This. Did I tell you this?
Not yet.
Okay, I didn't tell. Okay, well, I'm sharing with everybody, including you now. Gosh. That's what it was like for me meeting you at first. I'm like, somebody pulled you out of a Disney movie and put you in the jungle. So sweet.
That's the biggest compliment ever.
So it wasn't, but you weren't always this jungle fairy woman, were you?
No.
You have a Wall Street background.
Yeah, I do.
I want to hear about that, because I haven't gotten too connected with your history, with your background in that way. So tell us about Fern pre-Jungle Woman.
So that was over 7 years ago. So I feel like it was another lifetime. Though for nearly 8 years, I worked on Wall Street. Well, I started in Times Square, though still in banking. And I was literally working at 111 Wall Street.
So you went to college for finance or something?
No, I went in for biomedical engineering.
Oh, wow.
So I studied medicine. I went in for pre-med, and I realized during that journey that I wanted to help people heal, but I didn't really understand what that concept was at the time. And I didn't want to go into med school, and I studied electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, and it was all very mindy. And I didn't know this connection at the time, or that it was mindy at all. I just knew that I had more heart. So I went into finance. Go figure, right? Like, that doesn't make sense, but that's where the money...
What how'd you go into finance?
So I was in entrepreneurship as my minor. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. And I did know that I needed to make money after college, because I didn't come from a financially, affluent background. So I knew that I wanted to do something that would make my family proud, and that I would make money and live like how I saw my friends, from their more affluent backgrounds. I wanted to have that. I wanted to have what they had. And to go into finance meant that I would make money and get a 6-figure job. So I worked my way up to vice president, had the great income.
Vice president of like a hedge fund, or
no, I was working in Morgan Stanley and Citigroup, and I was doing data and risk, and it was not glorious, or it wasn't like trading or something, or working at a hedge. I did work at hedge funds, but I did admin stuff for them and like little side projects, consulting. Though it wasn't like, I talk about it and people are all like, "Oh, she worked on Wall Street." I'm sure a lot of people listening go like, "Okay, that's credibility," but the thing is, it was eating at my soul, and it was tarnishing it so much.
8 years, huh?
Nearly 8, counting the internship. So I had a job from my senior year in college. I already knew that I was hired. I was hired by a couple of the banks, and I got to choose, which was beautiful, though, because everyone wanted the engineer, because the engineer's mind can solve all they can solve all the bank's problems, basically. And I learned very soon that it was not glorious. And I fainted in the subway one day in New York City on my way to work, wearing high heels and a blazer and, all that. I was on the birth control pill and thyroid medication, and the two of them were conflicting in my body and creating so much liver bile and so much toxicity that my body couldn't handle it anymore. My soul was basically like, okay, enough. Stop living out of alignment. You're more creative. You have a heart. You have a soul. You have to do healing work first on myself and then on others.
And you probably didn't see it that way, that exact moment.
No, right? It took years. It's like, we don't always see things right away like that. At first, it's just like, I fainted in the subway. Okay, now I need to, whatever it is. But it took me a while to connect the dots, and I didn't quit my job until years later. Though my soul was speaking to me this whole time, like, that's enough, Stop living out of integrity. Stop living out of alignment. You really need to figure out who you are, what your purpose is. And then from that came the healing years later.
Yeah. I'm just soaking all that in, like what, to go spend so much time in university and then investing all of your energy into developing this financial career, and then it kind of culminating at like a crash and burn, huh?
Crash and burn. And I try to, I train yoga teachers, and I've trained teachers for so many years, and I help them to quantum leap, so they're not just like having that fear to be a teacher right away and being like, I don't think I can make much money, $20 a class, or, they're not ready yet. And I say, embody who you want to be 6 years down the line. Do it now, because we can speed timelines up right now in the world that we're living in. We don't have to settle into a place of being like, there's a mix between humility and confidence, of course, that we don't have to suffer and get less than we're worth. We can live in the heart space and really believe in ourselves and surround ourselves by people like our tribe who have been on this podcast, who are doing amazing work. And remember, we're not alone. We're supported. We don't have to do everything alone. This world is not meant for that.
Yeah.
So when I was able to settle into that space, I was able to like, okay, yeah, I can do this.
Okay. So take us a bit from like fainting on the subway and then choosing to leave the finance to then, I don't know, like how you arrived at this conscious path or whatever we want to call it.
Jungle woman.
Yeah, let's call it jungle woman.
Jungle woman. So I left that career one day. I was at a juicing summit in New York City.
Yeah.
On technically when I was supposed to be working, and I had my BlackBerry, and I would just like scroll the little scroll ball to show that I was online. And I was at this juicing summit, and I was like, okay, today's the day I'm going to call my boss and let myself go, let myself be free. And that moment was pure liberation.
Did you know what you were going to do next?
Well, yeah, I had my business. I was already working my yoga business and wellness company and retreats for 3 years. So I was doing retreats. I had private clients. I had a steady income. I had a wait list.
So for 3 years you were doing both?
Both. I burnt my adrenals out. Yeah. So for 3 years I was doing both. And I had a booming yoga business, wellness company. I was working with brands all around the world. I was traveling internationally. So I had my job on the side. So it wasn't too scary because I already knew that I could make it. I already had my business going. So I was using my finance career, seed capital to invest in my business. And then eventually I was like, I can't do both anymore. Why do I not believe in myself fully? So that's when I left. It's like proving myself. I believe in myself fully. Everyone else believes in me. My clients believe in me. My mentors believe in me. Some of the best yoga teachers in the world were taking me on, as their mentee, as their apprentice. And I was like, okay, what is it that I don't see yet? And then, so I finally set my wings free, which was the best moment of my life.
Yeah.
And then I moved from New York to LA. And then soon after that, 2 years later, from LA to Costa Rica, where I've been for almost 4 years.
Yeah. Living free.
Living free.
Which is one of your passions for people, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
How would you describe that? Like, you told me right before we started that that's one of your main things you want to enable people to live a life of freedom, right? So what do you mean by that?
So it's interesting because the other day I was standing on the edge of my pool. I have a very similar pool to Templo Lila.
Yeah, you have your own temple on a mountaintop.
Temple Gaia, Templo Lila, they're very similar. And my mountaintop temple, I was standing on the very edge of my pool at the edge of the mountain being like, wow, I love living on the edge. Like I don't have a set structure of calls. I don't have a job that I report to anyone. I don't have I don't even see weekly, monthly clients right now. I completely have my wings open to the universe with receptivity whenever that next sound healing is booked, whenever a medicine ceremony is booked, a client coming on a personal retreat or a cleanse, or the next event. And I shared this the other day with you. I was like, my car, I got to get new tires for the car. And then all of a sudden I couldn't get to Medicine Song Circle because I was booked for a sound healing job. So I this isn't for everyone, this path. I'm not saying that everyone quits their job and lives this life, but I live very well on the edge because it is freedom in my soul with numerology and life path and, human generator, if anyone's familiar with that, or human design. I'm a manifesting generator, so I can manifest very easily. And my life purpose and my life path is to live a life of freedom and show others what's possible. So that I'm living my truth by living in freedom. So I know that for me, it works. For me, living on the edge like that, is exhilarating. And I want to share that whatever that edge means for you, if you're listening and you're not sure what your edge is, go out of your comfort zone into that place of like, oh my gosh, this is my passion. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm willing to be surprised. And that's when the universe can show up and give you more than you've ever thought possible.
Amazing. Wow. And what are some of the things that have most supported you in going further into yourself and being this truer and truer version of you?
There's so much. I mean, I've done life coaching and, so many different spiritual development courses. The number one, though, has been most recent with ayahuasca. I was sitting with the sacred plant grandmother. Wow. That has helped me, because I've known my inner child struggles and my ancestral healing wounds, and I've known those things. Though what the medicine does, and you're familiar with as well, is that instead of just saying these things that we know, like we hear these things, you embody it. And it really, the medicine anchored in these concepts in me into a way that I was actually viscerally feeling and releasing pain on a deep energetic and soul level, which was more powerful than, I love Kundalini yoga and I love breath work and I love all these other modalities. Though it's not like those ways were surface to me, and I'm only speaking on my personal journey, not the collective, because some of that can transform someone completely. For me, it was like I would create a new habit, I would have a new thought form, though it didn't last. It wasn't sustained. And I've been really, really, really committed and devoted to my integration process with the plant medicine, which it's like the most important thing. For me, I sat with ayahuasca 6 times in 1 month, just before my 35th birthday a couple months ago, or 1 month ago.
It's quite a bit, huh?
It was intense, and it wasn't my intention. My intention was to sit 1 time.
Yeah.
Though there was so much deep healing and darkness and shadows to be looked at that I was finally ready to do. And that's why I waited years to do this. And this path is like one that is, it requires time. And I've given myself that time to really sit with myself and heal. And it's I have to do that in order to serve. And now after doing that, the work that I do is so much deeper with my clients and what I'm offering the world now, because I've been able to go there within myself.
Yeah. Let's talk about a bit about this phenomenon of being ready for it, right? You meant the plant medicine, right?
Yes.
The ayahuasca. I hear that from some people at times, like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for it, right? You once told me then you had this concept that you should be able to like tap in to the certain level of guidance or go inward enough, like on your own, right? And that's one of the reasons why you didn't do it for a while.
Yeah. And the other reason was I wasn't ready to face my own shadows and darkness yet. Like I avoided it, and I said, oh, I'm so light. I don't have any darkness. What are you talking about? I'm so light, And so I wasn't, I would say, I don't need plant medicine. I'm good. I can use Kundalini yoga. I can use this. I can use that, which was true. I could use those techniques, though there was a level of spiritual bypassing that I was just not looking at certain things because I just wanted life to be so good and glossy on the surface, yet a little murky and dark on the inside. And I want my radiance that's on the outside to be true. I don't want it to just be a facade with like some hidden shadows and sadness. I really wanted to look at the sadness and see why it was there and hold that inner child in a way that she hadn't been held before. And I cried my eyes out, like asking spirit, asking grandmother, what is this heaviness that I feel? I was crying for hours. I just want to be light. I just want to be light. And because I was asking that so much, I was purging so much darkness, and I saw what it all was. And that was different than anything else I could have ever experienced in my life. The amount of clarity that I received as I was in those purges, as I was in those tears, it was so much deeper beyond anything I've ever done before.
Wow.
And also it's very scary. I had an ego death. So I literally shed my physical body and shed layers of my ego, my identity. I emptied my mind and emptied it so I could be guided by whatever spirit wants me to serve in this life. So that was so powerful. And to let go of the ego and surrender into the heart space is something that I desire for all humans to experience.
Definitely. And part of my job as a host of this podcast, I think, is to bridge the communication sometimes. I think just like myself, a lot of people come from a background where like they didn't learn anything about psychedelics or this work of shadow work and inner child trauma healing and all that stuff, right? So the term ego death,
that's a good one.
It's not like you no longer have an ego.
Right. And that's like such a lofty goal that is like impossible nearly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can name very few people that have completely detached from the ego completely. We all have, fear of some sort of judgment, wanting to be a certain thing or a certain title. What my ego death was, I can only speak to my personal experience, was that I released so many layers of needing validation, needing love in a certain way, or to look like a certain, like needing love to look like one thing, or wanting something because I had a desire. So I was able in one of the ceremonies to shed my desire, my lust, like all of these things that were weighing me down and keeping me heavy because it was a wanting, a grasping, a heaviness, a lack inside myself, and seeing where it was. And that was the ego, and the perfectionism and the needing for, something. Approval.
Yeah.
And then the ego death was basically a purge of like an excavation of an entity, of an excavation of karmic wounds. It felt it in my body. And on the other side of it, I literally felt my mind getting erased. And it was the most liberating feeling, the most freeing feeling. I felt my shoulders drop. I turned into a puddle of goo and I saw myself melt on the floor. And it was, instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, where did my body go? Or, now my mind's empty, I'm going to be stupid or something. I was like, I literally said to the medicine, take my mind. I don't want it at all. And I saw it dump out everything onto the floor, like all the old programming. And then my mind was empty. And instead of having a fear that I would lose all the education and all the knowledge, I was like, take away the titles, take away everything, I even said, take away my home. Take away everything. I want to start fresh. And then I had a rebirth and it felt like I just was flying. And what came of that was that after I got back from the ceremony, so the most important thing is the integration, I stopped doing a lot of things that I was doing before because they gave me validation. Like teaching certain things, offering certain types of sessions, because I knew that I was good at them and people would come to me for that, though that was so ego-based. So I started to say, no, I don't really do that anymore.
So you found that you were doing those things more as a form of self-validation.
Yeah, and the thing is that it was consuming time from what I really do love to do, like vocals, shamanic voice, sound ceremonies. And ever since I started letting go of the things that I don't really find joy in, that were more ego-based, my soul has literally been so opened up to all these opportunities that come into my life now that I wouldn't have time for before. I have more time for me. I have more time for others. I have more time for love. Like I'm just, that's what the ceremony opened me up to.
Yeah. By the way, you're one of the most interesting women I've met in the world. Like there's so many.
That's such a great.
There's
compliment.
so many things.
So many.
Like just today, we've hung out for over 3 weeks now, and just today I learned you were a jockey. You rode horses.
Oh yeah, jockey. No, I wasn't a race horse.
What is the
show jumper?
Show jumper.
But I wasn't a jockey. Jockey are the race horses. Different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also had a TV show. Can you say a little bit about what the TV show was?
Okay, yeah. The horseback riding was younger.
Okay.
I did show jump and do cross country, and I had horses, and I love horses. The TV show in LA, that was a passion project, basically, is that I had a producer at a TV network in LA that would film me interviewing, just like you're interviewing me, interview influencers and founders of companies on their their definition and their views on sensuality, sexuality, passion, romance, tantra, and self-care from a place of, asking them about their personal practices and inspiring the world.
Cool.
So I still have that. Some of the episodes are on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll eventually put more on iTunes. The content, as I mentioned before, is pure gold. Such amazing, amazing, amazing humans on there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great. Let's go back to plant medicine for a little bit.
Let's go back there. That's where the juice is.
Yeah. So ayahuasca, you held out on it for a while, but you did other forms of plant medicine before that?
Only psilocybin. I
When
dabbled
was
into peyote.
your first psilocybin experience?
It was at Envision Festival, and I did
here in Costa Rica.
In Costa Rica, only like 3 years ago, I think.
Okay.
And I actually did it by accident. I know that sounds crazy. A dear friend who I had just met did not know that I had never taken mushrooms, because usually apparently everyone at Envision takes mushrooms. I didn't know that. I've gone to not hundreds of festivals, though I've been sober for many years from alcohol. And when I would go to festivals in LA, I didn't drink. I didn't take any substances. I didn't even smoke Santa Maria, marijuana, whatever. I didn't smoke anything. And I went to so many music festivals completely sober. So I didn't know that at Envision that everyone's on something, because when you haven't taken substances, you kind of are oblivious to that people are on them. You're just kind of like, I'm happy. Everyone's happy. Cool. Yeah. Like, you don't know. So innocent that I am sometimes.
Right.
And so I'm at Envision, and he offers me mushrooms in the chocolate, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. That's so like cute. It's a chocolate.
Yeah.
How powerful can this be? And of course, if you've ever taken mushrooms, you know that it does not kick in right away. Same thing like certain substances, they don't kick in right away. And I went to Envision with the intention that I'm just going to have the time. I was living in Costa Rica like I am now. I was like, I'm just going to be free. I feel safe in my country. I don't know where I'm going to sleep. I trust this land. I trust my body. I have my boundaries, like I'm going to be good. So I take this mushroom. I didn't feel it. So he gives me a second one. Hero's dose by this point, probably 4-ish grams. And then
4 grams
on my first time at Envision with the lights and the music and everything.
For those of you that don't know, usually 2 grams is like a full dose, right? To go on your own ceremonial journey. Oof. So that's double.
Okay. So I'm sitting in the tea lounge with him, and then all of a sudden the room starts spinning. And anyone who's been on the plant medicine and mushrooms know that, your first time can be a little scary, especially if there's sounds. I literally called. I saw it all happen, and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I think just go enjoy the gathering, I'll just lay down here and be good. I saw all the colors start to happen, and I remember like Mickey Mouse and some other like characters, and I was like, oh gosh. And the medicine told me, surrender. Simple. Just surrender. So I went into my breath, because I've been doing breath work and meditation for years, and I just went into meditation space. I protected my body. I surrounded myself with light. I said, no one's going to violate me. I felt really safe within myself, even in that like really altered space. And I kept holding my body, and like, I was like, okay, I'm still here. Okay, I'm still clothed. Okay, I'm still in the tea house. Great. Things are good. And I don't recommend what I did to anyone, right? Like, I do not endorse just going to a gathering and taking a hero's dose. That's why, another reason why the night was amazing, by the way. Saw my higher self. I was starting to Reiki the trees. I saw everything before it happened. I had a life-changing visualization and destiny revelation about my future and my purpose. And it was incredible. So it ended up being totally magical, magnificent. Though I believe that one of the reasons I am a medicine woman now, holding space for psilocybin ceremonies at my house, and then also, bringing sound journeys around where there are medicine ceremonies, I come in and I do the sound healing, is that I know how important it is to be in a safe space when you're on a substance. The last thing I would want would be someone to have a trauma from an experience because they were under some sort of substance, and either they had a bad trip or, because the medicine, I honor the medicine. It is a very powerful tool for getting connected to the earth, like Reikiing trees. I've had this beautiful new relationship with trees where I can hear them, I can pray to them, and they have a language. and I can speak it. And that's
Wow.
the medicine gives me that power that now I've started to get that power. Like today we went to these beautiful trees on your land here.
Amazing.
And I was speaking to them and hearing them without being on medicine. So it's given me this power and this knowing now that I don't need the medicine in order to have these gifts. It unlocked something within me. And now I can do amazing earth healing work and healing work on myself without needing any substance. So they have an amazing power. And one of my passions as a medicine woman is to show this is not just a recreational substance. This is a way for you to tap into your gifts even more, to live in your heart space and to stay there. Like the medicine can show you something that might have been hidden because you're in such a surrendered state on it. If you can get out of the mind space and into the heart space when you're on the medicine, as you probably very well, when you get into the heart space, that's when the medicine can teach you and show you something when you're dropping in.
Yeah, the two words that I give people the most when they tell me they're going to participate in their first plant medicine ceremony is surrender and allow.
Allow.
You know? Yeah. Like it really is, you gotta let go of that steering wheel and just surrender. Right. It takes trusting too, right? You got to trust the space you're in. So you definitely want to make sure that you're with somebody who's going to guide you, facilitate for you as you do for people.
That's what I'm so passionate for.
So once you have the trust there, what's important is definitely that surrender and that allowing. And you never really know what's going to come through, which is, I think, the part where our Western minds struggle with, right? Because we become so logical. And for sure, I was somebody who, here, my time in Costa Rica has been like a detox of that right-sided logical mind, or the ego mind, as they call it in the indigenous culture, right? The ego for the logic and the condor for the heart, right? I was full ego. Right. So yeah, I do see it a lot. Like we wanting to know, well, what's going to happen? Like if I let go, however, it's magical if you're able to just fully let go of that driver wheel and allow the medicine to take care of you. And as you did in your ayahuasca ceremony, where you're like, I'm not attached to any of this. You can take it all. And all of a sudden, the medicine was able to have a full effect on you. So awesome. That was your first experience with psilocybin, and so then you participated a few more times afterwards.
In more ceremonial spaces. So that's what really shifted it for me. Is I had a couple sisters on my birthday in Nosara, where I lived there. A couple of us sat together and we did a more ceremonial, because my first one wasn't ceremonial. We set an intention together, my friend and I, before my trip started. It was, we set an intention. It wasn't just like, here's this, take it. No, we sat down, because it's so important to set an intention with any medicine, even cacao, even a cup of tea, so it's so nice to set an intention with each sip or with each nibble and really feel that infuse into your body. So I did a couple ceremonial ones. And then here in Santa Teresa is where it really started. So a shaman that I work with here in Santa Teresa, I went to a couple of his ceremonies, and the first one, wow, I had such a profound experience about my path. And the medicine said, we are your teacher and you are our teacher. You need to serve us. Show the world this medicine. And then I watched Fantastic Fungi, the documentary.
Great film.
Recommend it highly to everyone listening.
It's on Netflix, I think.
It is. And I think you watch it free on YouTube maybe too. And wow. So he told me, he's like, I want you side by side in ceremony with me. I want you to be giving the sound. I want you to be in every ceremony with me. And that gave me the confidence of like, wow, he sees me. And it wasn't coincidence, because I wanted to get more into the sound journeys in this way. And so it's been, I don't know how long it's been. It's been remarkable. I've held space in so many different ceremonies with one person, with couples, with bigger groups. It's been wow, to watch people too to see them drop their layer, because I see auras, so I'm able to see when someone has a really tight, restricted aura and it's like really a shield up. I'm able to see that, and I'm able to see when it starts to drop away and the aura gets brighter.
When did you start seeing auras?
Even before medicines, like way back. You know, when someone walks into a room and you just feel them, you feel their presence without even seeing them, that is a huge aura, right? So many people feel, and I start to see it as well. So I feel the aura, and then I also can see it, and I can see when people drop the shield. And I also can see when someone's in their mind space. Just by looking at someone, I can be like, oh, that person's in their mind space right now, or in their heart space. And yeah, I love being
You
able to
did have
switch.
that moment, was it yesterday, that there was the dinner on the mountain with the devotion band, of which you're a part of, or which you're going to talk about, right? And I had no clue exactly where I was going. I just had a pin on Google.
Yeah.
And by the way, one of the things that I needed to get up this mountain was better transportation than the bicycle I was using for the first couple of weeks here in Santa Teresa, after kind of being tired of paying $1,500 a month for a rental car. So the universe just out of nowhere
gave you
gave me a motorcycle. So a motorcycle now. I ride motorcycle. It was a little rough in the beginning. So anyway, so there's this mountain that I go meet you at somewhere. I just have the pin, and at this point the pin was not working because it said I arrived. So my GPS turned off, and then when I tried to go look for it again, I couldn't because I didn't have signal up there. And then from between the trees, I couldn't even see. I just hear your voice through my helmet. You're like, "Cesar, is that you?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yes!" I was struggling with it. It's so steep, right?
Yeah, it's so steep. It's a very dangerous hill that we're having this dinner party on.
Yeah, and I'm very much a beginner at riding motorcycle.
I had this intuitive hit, like. I feel Caesar's really close right now. Yeah. And it was late because I knew you were going to come around like 6:30. Yeah. And I could feel, I didn't even look at my phone. So I didn't even know if you had texted me or whatnot, but I felt you. And I was like, I couldn't even see. I looked around the trees.
It was dark.
Yeah. I looked around the trees and I was like, Caesar? Yeah. Caesar, is that you?
Yeah, my light at this point wasn't turning on. And I got to get that light fixed.
I have a sixth sense for sure. Yeah, and people I'm super connected to, I can feel their heart space so telepathically, and also like if they need help, if they're in a space where they need something, you know, like I can feel so empathically, and that's something that I've had as a child beyond, you know, any medicines. And now my because the medicines have cleared out so much of the dark stuff and the stuff that I was doing that's not really serving me, help me get into alignment. My telepathic and intuitive skills have like psychic power, boom.
Yeah, I think earlier today you told me you feel more you than ever.
That's true.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was standing at the pool right over there. And
can you say what you mean by that?
I feel the most free. I think that's who we truly are. And I feel the most surrendered. I'm on the edge right now. Like, I just bought this car and I'm doing my residency for Costa Rica. I'm almost done. Yeah. So I have a car, 2 dogs, 2 surfboards. I live alone. I'm like, wow, okay. You know, like I'm completely like, I'm here, and I'm on the edge of this place of being like, here's my work to the world. Here's my gifts to the world. You know, I'm living my dream. Amazing. And today I even was like, oh, this land looks beautiful. You know, like I'm so in this open place, and it's more me than ever because I don't have anything being like, the heaviness is gone.
Yeah. Amazing. I wanted to ask you about the work that you do with women and their thyroid.
Yeah, that's another niche that I have.
Okay, so let's spend some time there, because this is totally unconventional. My mother has issues with her thyroid, and I have a very good friend whose mother had her thyroid removed due to thyroid cancer. So talk to me about the work you do with women and their thyroid.
Thank you for asking that. Such an important topic, and something that I don't work as much in that space anymore because I've gone into like this other sort of, you know, space. Yeah. Though with shamanic voice, it's all related, right? So the thyroid is located here, for anyone that doesn't know, and men have thyroids too. It's just more common to have a thyroid imbalance in women because women have a lot of hormones all working together. We also notice things very quickly, like weight gain or congestion or fatigue. Women are very likely to go to the doctor when something like that is just off. And so I have an autoimmune thyroid condition. It's in remission, so I don't have any symptoms.
You do?
I do.
I didn't know
That's
that.
why I'm so interested in this work. And it's all around energetically speaking our truth.
Does it have a name, the condition?
Hypothyroid. I have Hashimoto's. It sounds scarier than it is, and many women get the diagnosis for this, and they're so freaked out, and they get their thyroid removed because the doctor is like, you need your thyroid removed. Here's some medicine. And instead of really going into the root cause, which is usually liver toxicity, heavy metals, parasites, bacteria, I've had all of these. So I've cleansed my body very, very thoroughly. I still do that. I'm often telling you I'm fruit fasting again, or, something like that, because the moment my body feels out of alignment, I know how to get it back. And
what are your cues or your registers for seeing, okay, my body is starting to feel out of alignment?
Inflammation, like puffiness, fatigue. If I feel cloudy here, any sinus congestion, the moment that happens, I take a break from pretty much everything I'm doing, unless it's like, work like a ceremony or a sound healing. But I'll go internal and I'll really take some time off and heal my body, because I don't take any medication.
You heal your body by doing what?
Yoga. I have a program called Thyroid Yoga.
Okay, so yes, going back to that.
So it's a blend of Kundalini yoga, breath work, sound frequencies, meditation. It's a lot of exercises to balance the hormones and specifically the thyroid. And so I know intuitively, and also I've studied it for years with Chinese medicine, some other practices, how to get your body back into alignment, and be your own inner healer. So I've trained hundreds of women in this now. They're all over the world, and they offer thyroid yoga. And so I have an online teacher training program that's open now. I mean, anyone can just go in now and get the library of content that I've created since when I started this in 2013.
Nice.
So I love empowering people to be their own healers and women to free themselves from the mercy of a diagnostic. The doctor says, oh, you have a thyroid condition, you need medicine, instead of just trusting the guy in the white coat.
Yeah.
You know your body better than anyone else. So I teach people how to listen to their body, and then how to use those signs into, okay, what exactly do I need right now in order to feel better?
So you said you're not really doing this work yourself anymore, but there's teachers you've trained that do that work.
They carry the legacy. So they carry the torch, and then also I have the online training program to become a teacher. And I have a mentor here in Costa Rica, someone I've trained, and she's the mentor of the program now. And she'll help train the teachers as well.
So there's somebody that, so for women that are having thyroid issues, what would you recommend they do?
Go to thyroidyoga.com, see the training program, and then get started and take your health into your own hands and start empowering other people, because I'm a book of knowledge, and I'll share everything that I've ever learned.
So is there case studies, testimonials?
Yes. Okay. Women who are completely healed from being off medication, women who have lost so much weight, because one of the main things with a thyroid condition is the metabolism. And so women who have gone off their medication and lost a ton of weight, because usually the medication helps your metabolism. But they're able to get lean and feel amazing and feel lighter, remove the densities in their body. And so many women who've cleared their skin up, who have gotten their fertility back. I mean, so many women came to me because they were not having their menstrual cycle, and so many women who couldn't conceive. And I've helped women conceive, get their menstrual cycle, have healthy babies. Women who have left their job and have become full-time teachers.
From the thyroid.
Yeah. Yeah, the thyroid controls everything. It controls your sex drive. It controls your energy. So if I feel any of these things are off, right away I'm like, okay, where do I go back into my baseline? How do I get back there?
Seems like a very important organ to just remove.
Well, that's the thing. There's a whole lot of misinformed doctors, I have to say, because I studied medicine, so that's where my validation in this comes, is that I know how doctors are trained, because I went into pre-med with biomedical engineering. So I know that we're not trained to look at the body on an energetic level as well, and to look at where we're not being our creative truth, because the thyroid and the throat are creative expression. So I know that doctors aren't even looking at that. They're not looking at the nutrition. They're not looking at lifestyle. They're giving a pill and saying this is how to fix it, or it needs to be removed.
Yeah.
So I have a cyst or a nodule on my thyroid. And I got it checked and it's benign. It's normal. Though many doctors will say, just get it removed, that way it's not
just
there.
In case.
Just in case, right? But that sometimes takes away part of your thyroid. And without part of the thyroid, how do you expect to have that metabolism and all the different, we need the thyroid. It's a check engine light. It's literally like, if you don't have the check engine light in your body, how is your body going to have a radar that something's up?
Yeah. At what point did you walk away from medicine education?
When I graduated. So I graduated with biomedical engineering and I went right into finance.
Graduated with like bachelor's degree?
Bachelor's degree, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did the 4 years of that, and then instead of going into med school, I studied though the pre-med track because biomedical engineering was that same track. My classmates, a lot of them went into med, became doctors. I was disheartened by the fact that I was suffering so much and doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
I would go and they're like, oh, your tests are normal, your blood is fine. I'm like, but I feel like crap. Like, please give me some. I wanted a diagnosis at that point because at least by diagnosis they could give me, besides the autoimmune thyroid. But I was like, I'm on medication. I feel like shit, And they, instead of giving me anything, they would say, just take another blood test in 6 weeks and come back. And without receiving any clarity on that, my blood tests were perfect. Everything was clean. And I was just like, okay, I need to take this into my own hands and heal myself.
Wow.
So
good for you.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Okay, great.
So much. Wow. So that's why I'm a medicine woman.
Yeah. Thanks for all that work you've done and continue to do for women and for people. What else do you want to talk about?
What other juicy things do you know about me that you can share?
You do like these one-on-one retreats with people, right?
And I do.
So why do people come to you? Like, what's the reason that they've come to you?
Because I listen. I'm patient.
Yeah.
I love to hold space for someone, just be themselves, be safe, and have a container to like just grow and be held. So the women that come, I mainly work with women. I have worked with men as well, though mainly my clients are women. They've come from either high stress jobs or sometimes relationships ending or, something where they need to find themselves again. And the work that I do brings together the thyroid yoga or kundalini yoga with breath work, with sound healing, voice activation, to find freedom and to find who you truly are and be there and stay there. Nice. So the retreats that I do here in Costa Rica, I have a retreat center right at my house. So it's such the perfect space. And
which is just a magical manifestation, that house.
Well, that's the thing too. The manifestation of where I live, Templo Gaia, is that the retreat center, Thea Retreats, is a cleanse and detox longevity retreat center. So I literally manifested a place where I could live my healthiest life. And I'm so grateful that the universe brought me there and that I said yes. And that I moved from Nosara to Santa Teresa. Yeah,
you told me the story of how you wound up with that amazing paradise of a home. We don't need to go entirely into in this moment, but what would you say? So let's call it that, like, you're in this state of flow with the universe, right? And I do feel, and I've seen this in my own life, how like when you're being true to yourself and you're on that path of truth and taking the actions, all of a sudden it's like the universe supports you and starts laying down big old bricks and stepping stones to continue on that path, and they're often like rewards too, or they feel like rewards. So how does somebody get on that path?
It's surrender. It's literally like No expectation, first of all, because if we expect that result or like put a timeline on it, I've had so many astrology readings that were like, you're going to have love by this date. And then you put a little window on it and then you're like looking like this date to this date. And then there's pressure and expectation. Yeah. So it's putting the idea out there to the universe and having a clear vision. I say manifest with precision, like actually have a clear idea of what you desire and then let it go. No timeline, no expectation. And I always say, and surprise me, better than I've expected, like better than I...
This or something better.
This or something better. Yeah. And it's really funny, Pippa, who's on the episode after
the next episode that's already been recorded, because time doesn't exist in this reality.
It's circular. So it's so funny because I went to this resort called Anamaya in Montezuma, living in Nosara during quarantine. Of course, I was there for almost 3 years. And Pippa, I met her my first night at this resort called Anamaya because I was visiting another friend. No desire to move to Santa Teresa whatsoever. I was coming back and forth here for the last 3 years. I got my little angel wing tattoos. Where can you see them?
For those that are listening,
I got my angel wings.
Fern's got angel wings tattooed on the back of both her arms. So anyway, she's a real life fairy.
A real life fairy. So I had these wings done here in Santa Teresa on my 33rd birthday, and I was coming back and forth here, though didn't desire to actually live here. Came to Santa Teresa literally thinking I was going to go home in a week, packed enough for a week. Then I started cleansing in Montezuma and still thought I was going to go home in a week. That's where I met Pippa, nearby, where I was going to cleanse. And the funny thing happened that my astrologer said that I was going to have a big move in the next couple months. And I was like, it's quarantine. I was like, I'm not leaving Costa Rica. What do you think? And he's like, it's not leaving Costa Rica. And I've been seeing this astrologer online, many sessions, and he's always been spot on, except the love portion, which I give him some space, quantum leaps, all the things happen, you just, you can't rely on the readings. However, if you trust and those things happen, like the call to move here, for example, I literally just surrendered into it and didn't say, no, well, Nosara is my home. I'm going to stick to that. I said, wow, okay, my soul just is going to be guided. And that's when the manifestations happen, when you don't put the pressure on them. I've learned that I've wrecked so many things because I've put the pressure on myself or something else. So when you let the universe guide you, that's my biggest advice to someone is have that monkey agrees. The howler monkey agrees.
You might not hear there's howler monkeys on the mountain. Every now and then they chant for us.
There's different animals around here that have different validations. Like the geckos will start to sing, the howler monkeys. So that's my advice to someone trying to get into that space of letting the universe guide is really just allow it. Put the intention out there and then throw it out into the wind. And release attachment.
Surrender.
Release the attachment because it gives your soul the freedom. And as you mentioned, time is not linear. So, and things are shifting so much in the world right now. So what you hear in a reading, astrology, or Akashic records, whatever it is, to let go of the timeline that you've been given for that. Because you have your own free will. Everyone has their own free will, and the world right now is shifting so much. So just to be open, I say stay open. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side.
Yeah. And before coming down to Santa Teresa, some people called you the mayor of Nosara, right?
You have an amazing memory.
Why was that? How did you earn that nickname?
Because I was just I had a beautiful house that I would, just like I do now. I'm a Taurus. So Taurus women are all about hosting and throwing gatherings and making beautiful food and being sensual. That's just a Taurus thing. And I had a house there that I was throwing gatherings. Before my house was even done with construction, I had musicians come to the space and there was no furniture. So the acoustics were amazing. And I had amazing musicians play and we had a big open space to just have fun and make beautiful food, have potlucks and sing. So I knew a lot of people in town. I wouldn't say everyone because that's just an overstatement, but I knew amazing, amazing people. And we all got together and did what we do here in Santa Teresa. And Nosara is a little bit smaller too, and my house was known as the mayor's house. It was right in town on the beach, and just having an open home. Everyone's invited. Bring your friends, just like we do with our gatherings here. It's not exclusive. It's not, it's like if you hear about it and you're going to bring someone, great. Like I never would turn someone down. And what another amazing thing is about Nosara that I loved, there are much more people from Costa Rica living in Nosara. So I had a lot of friends, Tico, they say in Costa Rica, Tico, a lot of friends from Costa Rica. So my gatherings would sometimes be mainly people from this country. And that was really special.
That's nice.
So I literally did have a very open and inclusive place and a place where people could meet each other.
Yeah.
So I was a connector as well. Yeah, so the mayor of Nosara.
Awesome. All righty. Well, we'll leave it at that. It was so great to have this conversation.
Wow.
I can't believe the whole hour flew by already.
Flew by. We're just going to keep talking.
So, yeah. I usually invite almost everybody back to do a second episode because there's just so much more we want to talk about. So
much more.
I'm definitely would love to invite you back again.
We're doing one with the band, with the devotion band.
Yes. You're part of a band. I might or might not be part of a band. I think I'm like a temp.
You are. You know
temp
what?
percussion.
Temp percussion.
I earned that title somehow.
You'll be doing some shows with us, and you know what? If you live up to your percussion, get that drum. We're getting a drum.
Okay.
So the band Devotion is all about mantra and medicine songs to help people drop into their heart space and have a deeper connection with the earth.
Follow them on Instagram
at Devotion Band. Devotion.
Ocean, like the ocean.
We'll put it all probably in the show notes.
It'll be in the show notes. So
and you'll be doing some shows with us, which I'm so excited.
Yes.
And
we're going to a retreat. Visionaries Immersion that Tish and her amazing team are putting together.
Yes.
Can't wait.
And Darren
Mose is going to be there. Darren's going to be there.
Sam Garrett.
It's going to be incredible.
Amazing people.
So I'd love to give you an opportunity to invite people to connect with you however you prefer.
Fern Olivia on Instagram or fernolivia.com are very easy ways to connect with me. Drop me a message. I love to connect. However I can be of service and share this medicine with you and, help you to feel more free, more in your heart space, and live with integrity for all that you do. That's why I'm here.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It was great having you. It's been great to come into this second chapter of Santa Teresa and meeting you immediately. And through you, I've met so many wonderful people. I've also connected to the Kirtan community down here, which you are responsible for, really.
Oh,
so thank you for Kirtan, which you sing so beautifully as well. Definitely follow Fern on Instagram. You'll get to watch her sing. You'll get to watch her dance, do her own shake therapy.
I do that. That's motivation to check that out.
Yeah. And so many more things. So thank you, Fern.
Thank you.
Great having you. And thank you for tuning in. Love you all. We'll be in touch. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you.
That is all, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for being a valued listener. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the podcast in whatever your favorite platform is. You can also watch the video version of the episode on the Love is Our Nature YouTube channel. Check out loveisOurNature.com as well. That's where you can see our latest news and most recent content. If you enjoyed the episode, leave a review, share it with your friends, or email me. I love hearing what you took away for yourself out of listening. My email is Caesar@loveIsOurNature.com. That's CESAR, or Cesar, like my mother says it, at loveIsOurNature.com altogether. Till next time, I'll be here rooting for you. And remember, whatever the question, love is the answer.